everybody. It is February 10th, Wednesday, 10 a.m., 2021.
Yay, hump day.
Yes, now today we're going to talk about an interesting topic, something that's been going through the social media outlet, and I know it's worrying some of my friends on some things or blowing it out of proportion, is that Japan is making a new law. Uh, and it's basically dealing with copywriting on with cosplaying. And the basis of it is, and this is the discussion for today. The basis of it is basically they're putting into law that if you're basically gonna have to, it's dealing with intellectual property rights. So if you're a cosplayer, you're making money off of um, cosplaying this character. You know, technically the studio has a right to, or the creator,
Has a right to come after you for.
though they can of course with anything
Oh, yeah.
these type of laws they can sue you, they could you know
Shut you down.
shut you down or ask for some money. So
All the above.
yeah, but it's a very interesting aspect, and I'll explain here. Here's some more stuff here in a minute. So you want to do your basic thoughts on it real quick before I get into some of the nitty gritty details?
Well, one nitty gritty that comes to mind is just because they pass it in Japan doesn't mean they'll be able to enforce it here.
Yeah, and see that's what a lot of people are also worried about too.
Yes.
So basically, what it is, and I'm hoping I'm saying this right. And this is the link. Everybody will be in the description. This is from the Japanese Times, um, or the no, the Japan Times, not Japanese Times. My fault. Okay, and this is one of their national articles. But Japan to clarify copyright rules for cosplay. Shinji Io, minister in charge of Cool Japan Strategies,
Yeah.
that's literally what's called. Cool Japan Strategies, the
Uh huh.
minister of it. Hands and this is from the picture. Hands a letter to cosplay Inako that names her as a cool Japan ambassador in Tokyo in December. The government now here's part of the article. I'm just going to kind of
Sum it up.
well, it's pretty much is the government is planning to review copyright rules to prevent possible legal violations by cosplayers as the number of people dressing up as animation and game characters continue to grow. While wearing a costume of a character does not infringe copyright itself, a violation could occur if an individual is paid to do so, such as making an appearance at an event. Shinji Ino, minister in charge of Cool Japan strategy to promote Japanese pop culture overseas, said Friday the government plans to review commercial copyright rules regarding fair use by the end of the fiscal year in March. I think this is a quote from him. It says, "To further promote cosplay culture, it is important to have an environment in which people can feel safe and enjoy themselves."
Yeah, well, I understand that.
Okay, so basically what he's sitting there saying is, I think he's wanting to lay out just some basic legal ground rules. Because I mean, Japan's not gonna go like super hardcore on some things. Now I can understand like some cosplayers. Um,
They're making a living doing it.
well, I mean, there's some cosplayers making a living doing it, but if you got a multi-billion-dollar company and everything, they're not really. I'm talking about some of the Japanese companies. Okay,
I understand.
they're not going to sit there and look at gift horse in the mouth. They're gonna be like, "That's free
Get
advertisement," like Nintendo's already sit there and said they're not going to pursue anybody. I mean, I've heard this through the grapevine, you know, especially with Nintendo World, um, or Super Nintendo World, whatever they're calling it, just opened up in Japan, which is basically their think Disneyland but with for Nintendo characters. Uh, hey, that sounds cool.
yeah.
um, and Capcom's not going to do it because Capcom sees people dress up as all the times at these conventions, and it's like, hey, this is free advertising. We'll get them to take pictures and everything, and you know,
Help them to promote our products.
right. Namco Bandai doesn't have a problem with it. Um,
It'll be some little Pinhead pencil neck.
The only people I can see have a problem with is maybe it's Sony, but Sony's not in Japan anymore. Uh,
Right.
I know. It's in California,
California.
but it what they're wanting to do is Yamada says he wants to create basically a framework in the law to help protect both the creators and the cosplayers. Now, and I under now everyone the article will be just look in our description and there'll be a link to the article on the Japan Times. Um, Hold on, let me put my laptop down. So, okay. All right, so now I've basically done the sum up of that and everything. So, I mean,
Well, what the people are afraid of is the same thing. The rules and regulations that go in that people take copyrighted material, for instance, that's franchised by the schools and universities. Their logos, their symbols, everything else.
oh yeah, I mean, like,
And they go after you over a nickel.
oh, I know. And for people who don't know, and this is an example of copyright, stuff and everything. So, everybody, we're located in Alabama, and two of the big universities here in Alabama is, of course, University of Alabama and Auburn University. Okay, if let's say you and so basically there was some quilters, people who make kind of blankets. Everybody, for people who don't know who that is, they got some Alabama material like from Joann's or somewhere like that, wherever in Auburn, and what they were doing is they were raffling it off. Now it was a charity event, okay? It was to help raise up money, but basically they got told by somebody by the university, both universities, not to do it again. The only reason why they got away with it that time because it was going, I think it was for charity, and I mean. I know Mom has more information on that because she knows the whole deal.
Well, that's not only Auburn and Alabama and the state of Alabama, but this is nationwide. You take some of the really big major universities like Southern Cal, Texas A&M,
Duke.
Notre Dame. Oh boy, Notre Dame's all over the country. Any of their logos are, like the school name, school colors, where they use in the flags, uniforms. All of that is copyrighted.
Yeah.
Every bit of it.
No, and
just like with Disney.
Oh no.
Stuff is,
Oh yeah, and I understand about the copyrighted stuff. You don't, especially if you have your stuff protected, you don't want somebody else making money off of it. Especially if you're, trying to make, you're barely making ends meet doing this, and all of a sudden this person is using your product and making like, more than what, like using your character making more money than you are. Then I'm sorry. I see both sides of the argument on this. I do.
Right, well, I do too, but what people are worried about is that they're going to come after them over nitpicky stuff, like what happens, I know, with the university stuff.
Oh, I know. I mean, to me, this is also similar to the law that, and everybody, this is not political. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say this right now. But former President Trump signed a bill into law last, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yes.
And it dealt with the music industry. And I remember one of the artists that was, I know he's controversial for a lot of people. Kanye West was one of the people was talking with him about this, and a couple of older artists. I mean, a lot of people from the like classic R&B era.
Yeah, from
like 50s.
Yeah, the 50s and some of the
60s and 70s.
Materials when he went back to the 30s and 40s.
Yeah, and this is like stuff that's
really old school jazz and blues.
Unfortunately, some of the artists weren't alive, but we're talking about.
No.
But I mean, you can explain about that real quick. What it was better than I can.
Well, essentially, like what you're saying, the artist that they weren't getting any residuals for their work. They were getting paid like per song. back in the day. Well, even back in the '60s, some of them would get like $500 for a song, and that was it. You know, one for $500 for the lyrics, $500 for the music, and maybe $1,000 for the artist to put it on a record, and that was it. And then it'd be a number one sale, and you get what, 2 or 3 million sales, and they don't get anything out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the vocalists were getting something out of it, but the people, the creators of the music, those that wrote it, the music and the lyrics, they weren't getting anything to speak of. And that's what Kanye and a lot of other artists were doing. Say, hey, it's not right. These people put all this time and effort, and they're getting ripped off. You think about it. It's like you writing a book, and all you get paid is like $100, and they sell 100,000 copies at $10 a pop, and you don't get a nickel more.
Or what happened to the author of Demon Slayer, who only got like $20,000, and it made like $350 million. The movie did over in Japan.
Oh yeah.
That's not even 1%.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Come on, people.
I mean, I understand you got to pay. You got to cover your promotion. You have to cover your all the people working underneath and everything. The company has to make a profit, which I understand all that. But and I know there's talk like that also, like in the comic book industry, on some of the older artists now, because Mr. Bellman, God rest his soul, if you guys don't know who we're talking about comic book artist Alan Bellman. He was one of the original, he was one of the golden age comic book artists. He worked at Timely Comics before it was known as Marvel. And he worked back there, back in the day with Jack Kirby and Stan Lee. He was like one of the uncles of Captain America. Yeah. And I actually have, like one of his pieces of art that he did. I gotta get.
They were super nice people, him and his wife.
Oh, they were so nice. I'm glad we got to meet them when we did. Yes. That was worth it.
Yes.
And I know he was talking about stuff like that, dealing with intellectual properties, and I understand that. I think the law is also going to partially crack down on the people, on these companies that are not asking for permission to like make products like these. Okay, let's be honest. There's some cheap costume stuff being made, knockoffs, and they're calling it like, okay, here's an example, like Goku and everything, and they didn't get toys permission for it. Okay, you can sit there and tell it's a cheap knockoff, and they're charging like $50-$60, and you're sitting there like, oh my gosh, I can, I'm a seamstress, everybody. My mom is, but I was like, I can make my costume be better than that,
Where'd this cheap junk come from?
Yeah, I mean,
well, that's the same problem that they had in the garment industry with the knockoffs, and of course there's rules and regs on that. For instance, is Nike. They've had all kind of problems with that. I mean, there has been whole truckloads of shoes that have been confiscated at the dock that were
I know,
counterfeit. Basically, what it is, it's counterfeit.
Oh, I know, and I remember when all that happened. That was like around the mid-90s and everything.
It's a counterfeit product. I mean,
that was back
using a real name, but it's not the real product.
That was back like when Shaq and Michael Jordan and all them were still playing pro ball, and I remember that. Still being in elementary school, I still remember hearing about that. I mean,
well, they were upset. I mean, tremendously.
Oh yeah, no,
because it was something they were promoting and whatnot, and people were selling cheap imitations.
Oh yeah,
counterfeit.
Now, I do know one thing about Japan, and they don't go after these people, and everything. So, I don't know the exact numbers of what they were making at these events, but about once or twice a year in Japan, they would hold like a convention. Okay. Now it's called. I think they're called.
The trade shows. What we call trade shows.
Yeah, kind of like a trade show. It's not so much cosplay as it's more of a and everything. And these would be young artists.
Up and coming.
up and coming people who don't have a name for themselves. What they would do is, I think the pronounce and everybody, I could be wrong on this one. Okay, hold on. Um, and I'm gonna find the
And what were they doing though? Were they what, original content, or were they reworking?
it's called dojinshi.
Okay.
Okay, and basically what it is, it's self-published, self-made fan stories of established characters. They're not taking like they're doing like their own like fan story of established characters. They're drawing it out and everything, and they and of course they don't go after them or anything because on that type of stuff over there. They've actually got fan books. The company don't go after them. I mean, they're actually sold in some supermarkets.
Here you call it. They call it a knockoff.
We call it a knockoff. They call it's called Dojin over there. What we call a fan story. And
Fan stories with known
known established characters.
characters.
Now of course it goes everything from your regular stuff to but I've read one or two of them. I was trying to find them again online a couple of weeks ago, and some of them aren't bad. Like the artist, it's like wow.
Well, the company and all are probably looking at these. Hey, we can bring them into the fold and use them.
Right.
Why not?
So
it's a way to get your name known and to get seen by those in the business in the industry.
Right, and I don't think they're going to go after so much people who are sitting there making their own cosplays. Now, as much as they are people who are just going to be buying them and then trying to say, "Hey, this is my own," or I think that most of them go after people who are saying, "This is my own," da 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 da, when it's not.
Well, or somebody making not just two or three, but making dozens of a particular outfit or whatever, and just selling them wholesale.
Right. Well,
I understand them going.
Well, but I ain't talking about I ain't talking about the costume itself. I'm talking about the cosplayer. Because they're, and especially here in the past 10 years, a lot of people have made money off of being cosplayers.
Yes.
I would love to do that, but unfortunately, the cosplay lifestyle is very vain. And I mean it's very vain. I'm being honest.
Oh, I know. You don't tell me anything I don't know.
And I'm not knocking anybody who does it. I've met a couple of cosplayers who do it for a living. I have met Yaya Han. She's I met her 2010.
Yes.
I was working a convention. I was pretty much like security, running from point A to point B, making sure everybody was okay. I don't know what I was, just errand boy is really what I was. But she makes all of her costumes. She was real nice. She did do established characters, and I think she did sit there and tell me she did put. She always had money off to the side for each sale, just in case legal wise.
Oh yeah.
And I think that the guy who was there was telling me that. Said yeah. He goes, I handle all that stuff. She makes the costumes. I handle all the paperwork stuff.
Business end of it.
Yeah, the business end of it. Now. Quit shaking your leg. I can hear it. I mean, it's one of those things that I don't. I know what a lot of people are afraid of. They're not going to go to conventions and be like, you can't do this, you can't do this. No, people are having fun,
That's counterproductive.
Do I think they might go after people who are some people? Yeah, but there'll be a reason to go after them. It ain't just going to be some.
Because I made because I made $100 sale and made $5 off it. No, they're not worried about that kind of thing.
No, I mean, I feel sorry for Sony.
If they start making hundreds and hundreds of dollars, yeah, they're gonna look at them twice.
They might turn them into say, hey, you might want to come work for us. You can make a lot more money.
Yeah, you do good work, but hey,
good word, but we can get I'll say me as a business person, I'd be sitting there like that cosplayer. Hey, I'm with so and so company. You're doing one of our characters. Like your work and everything. Why don't you come work for us officially? So we increase your pay. You can do this stuff more time. You can have a
A
retire.
lot bigger audience.
Right. But no, of course, there's a double-edged sword because you have the snake salesman too.
Oh, yeah.
But
Always.
I mean, I understand, especially with the whole Olympics coming to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it's also part of the reason why. And I think there's also many things on how to protect cosplayers, especially from people who are going to be taking pictures of them and then selling them on the internet. Because unfortunately, there's a lot of people, and at these conventions, they'll take pictures of people and they'll sell them. Hey, I got this picture and everything. It's like $5 and everything of somebody else.
Yeah.
So it's going to be depending on how they write the law up. And I do see, especially like over here in the United States, us coming up with a similar law or adopting that law.
Well, just like what you have on DVDs and CDs.
Oh yeah.
There'll be something along those lines,
Oh,
which does go across international.
Oh, I know. Well, I'll admit, I have some music I've ripped off online, but the music I have ripped off online, I already have the CDs.
Yes. Yes.
And usually when I ripped it off is because it was on like a little anime music video, and I'll sit there and I'll watch it and everything while I'm doing work.
Yes.
Um, I have ripped off a couple of TV shows, but we have a copy of it, and it's only for me. I'm not giving it to anybody else.
Well, you're not making any copies. You're selling them.
Not now. That's too much work.
Yeah, it is.
I don't do that. I'll make my, I'm gonna put that type of effort into it. I'm gonna make my own original content. So, I mean, overall, what do you think?
Well, it can be a good thing. There again, it's depending on how the law is written
Yeah.
and what it entails. If it's like that on DVD and CDs, that's strictly against pirating. That's what they're really after, is the pirates.
Oh yeah, because I mean, people who do that stuff. I mean, because they make a killing off of that.
Oh yeah. Well, there again, I mean, it's just simple counterfeiting.
I know. Or it's like the people who back in the day used to take camcorders into the movie theaters and make bootleg,
Yeah.
DVDs
Oh yeah.
or VHSs.
VHSs. Yeah, they go into the movie theater and then record it and then come out and make copies. Well, the whole thing is going to depend on how the legislation is written up and the law is passed and how they're going to determine to enforce it.
Yeah, I don't know how to deal with that stuff in Japan.
Well, I mean, when you start crossing international lines, the rules change.
Yeah, don't remind me. Business Law 500, International Trade and Commerce.
Yeah.
Guys, that was literally the name of the class.
Of course. That was a 400 class, wasn't
No, that was my last class. That was my 500 class. That was my very, very last class before I got my master's.
Oh, okay.
That's why I looked like death when I got done.
Yeah, seriously, he looked like the test pattern on a TV.
Everybody, when I finished my
he was zoned out and zombied out. He didn't even go, huh? He just kind of stared at you with a blank look.
I was like that for like a week.
Oh, I know.
Thank goodness it was that was Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
I thought my final was Thanksgiving week. We used to have the credit school back then, man. I feel sorry for our students that night when I got done. Everyone, I'm done with class. I got frustration. I remember all our students said they look like, oh dear God, help us.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. That's it for today. Please like and subscribe and share with us here and leave a comment at the bottom of today's podcast. Let us know what you think about this law that's going to be passed. Are you a cosplayer or looking into getting the cosplay? Are you afraid how it's going to affect you? Let's see if we can get a discussion going. Actually, let's put the discussion also on our Facebook page, which we have. We got more content coming. Saturday will be our review of the next Attack on Titan, the final season episode. So that's all I can think of right now.
Yeah, and if you see a copy of the law, shoot it to our page.
Yeah, shoot it to our Facebook page. I'd like to read that more and everything. Actually, I was able to get that article because of J-Rock sent it to me.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So I was trying to find it, and he sent it to me. So he's working on. Ow. Sorry about that, everybody. All right, everybody. So that's it for today. We will see you on Saturday. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday and the rest of the week. Have fun.
Be safe.
Be safe. We're out.